Hello, social media land. This is Divine Design, Natural Health. I am Dr. Brett Spradlin. And who are we? Woo! We are Woo. That's who we are. It's perfect. I set you up. Everybody fell right into it. We are going to get started right away because I'm telling you what, we don't have time to mess around. There's a lot of stuff we're going to cover. And as you'll see in a minute, we have some yes. We have some yes. Thank you, thank you. We have some stuff too. I just got a frog in my throat right before, and so I need to get a little hydration. So we got a lot of stuff to cover. We're back, first of the year, first WellWorks class of the year. Andrew is the IT guru running everything back there. We have some new setups as well, which I hope you all have noticed. And then Diamond will be running the presentation for the evening. So give them a round of applause right quick, please. Oh, yes. And then, perfect. This is all about 2020, and I did not plan on this being the 20th. It's 1/20/20, and I did not even plan this being Healthline 2020. I took a page out of Ted Koppel's book, and I said, you know what, we're going to teach people about what is coming up in the future, what's coming up in healthcare, the biggest trends. And where I had a little bit of another plan, and then things got drastically changed last night when I stumbled across another article, and I thought everybody needs to know this. Huge deal. So before we get started, I'm going to read one testimonial. I think we're going to spread these out. Instead of reading them all at the beginning, I'm going to read one testimonial, and then during commercial breaks, what we'll do is just read a little testimonial. Or Jesus and Samantha, and Kathy and Danny, could even stand up, and whoever else could stand up and give some testimonials on what they've learned. This guy, I know, Jesus, I'm going to be calling on you to do your little spiel that you did today. It's going to be great. So have a microphone ready, Andrew. Jesus is going to drop the mic on everybody. So here's a little testimonial right here, just to let you know kind of some of the stuff that we do. Okay, here's somebody had gallbladder surgery, and there was pain everywhere that there was a scar. Here, pain is completely gone on the right side where there are 2 scars, and the middle scar is almost there, almost gone in just about 4 weeks' time. Scars can mess people up. Diamond, put me on a timer and just make sure that I get a commercial break every 10 minutes or so. All right? And we will do a testimonial as a little commercial break. Genius of an idea. Glad I didn't think of it. All right, so we're going to get started on Healthline 2020. I want everybody to buckle your seatbelts because there's a lot of information in here. I'm going to go at the speed of light like my britches are on fire, and we're going to try to put this all in the context of what you're being told, what you're not being told, and why. So is everybody ready?
Yes.
Woo, are you ready?
Woo! Woo!
Perfect. All right, so it's all about what's new in healthcare. You guys need to know about this stuff. If we go to, here's what's new in healthcare. Let's go right to that first site. Ready to rock? Stay on it, stay on it, stay on it. So let's go right to the site. I want to roll this out. I want to show you guys this because there's a lot of information on here. I get this all the time, and people are saying, hey, what do I tell so-and-so about this? What do I tell so-and-so about that? I got friends, I got family, I got coworkers someplace, and how do you explain the sauna? How do you explain the laser? Here's how you explain it. Let me know when we're ready. Good? We got it? Let me know when it shows, because I don't have eyes in the back of my head yet, but I'm working on it. The supplements work. Boom. This is how you show them what's going on. If you scroll over this website, we rolled this out a few months ago, and we've just putting some finishing touches on it right now. Here's how you tell people about stuff. If you want to go to scroll over about, drop-down menu, that's about us, Divine Design, our team, our office. Services, go there. If you need to explain to somebody about chiropractic or functional medicine or homeopathy or naturopathic medicine or infrared sauna or ionic detox or what we do with nutrition coaching, super simple, easy. 2, 3, 4 paragraphs, no big deal. Products. That'll talk about the nutrition, essential oils. We're booming with some of this stuff you're going to see very soon. Patient information. If they go to that new patient tab, there's just 4 steps. You got to call us. You got to come in, we got to do an exam, and then you got to decide what you want to do. Super easy. How we can help. This is something I want to draw attention to. Click on that. You can go here. We're in the process right now of reformatting some of this stuff. And click right there. And so how holistic medicine helps. Holistic, homeopathic, naturopathic, all these terms that get thrown around, we explain them on here so that you can understand exactly what you're showing people. All of these articles here, I wrote. I did not, every one of these articles, every word on this website I wrote. So you know that I know what I'm talking about. And so you can sort by, go up, So like if you go to digestive stuff, all your digestive stuff's going to go there. You know somebody with Crohn's disease, you know somebody with celiac disease, you know somebody with irritable bowel syndrome, irritable, gastroesophageal reflux, all that, click on digestive. All of that stuff is going to be in there. And neurological and cardiac, all that stuff is going to be divided into the same categories that we have the victory wall, okay? So I just wanted to show people that. Go back to the home page. So I just wanted to show people this because we're getting that all the time. How do you explain the laser? That thing works on that bump we had on my head or that cut or that surgical scar or whatever. Go there. Go to the website. Here's another idea. Send the link to somebody in Facebook. Here's another idea. WellWorks Rewards Club. Guess what we're doing? Starting next time, February 3rd, we are, you can pass them out, great idea. Starting February 3rd, pass those out. So here's the deal. There are so many people that need to know what you're learning, and there are so many people. How did every one of you get here? Word of mouth, right? Pretty much every one of you, unless you found us on Google or Facebook, which is very few. You got here from word of mouth. So starting February 3rd, we will have WellWorks punch cards. You can get up to 4 stamps on your punch card each event just by doing the following. Show up, bring a guest, check in on Facebook when you arrive, and share the live stream on Facebook during the event. You can get some practice right now for next time by pulling it out, checking in, and liking it and sharing it on Facebook, liking the live stream right now. I think you all ought to do that. You all got your little cellular devices. You all ought to pull those out and do that. Practice for next time. Make sure you know how to do it. Dee Dee, I'm talking to you. I know you got a smart cellular device. So once you do that, once it's full, you get to spin the wheel, people. How many of you want to spin the wheel?
Woo.
Say, woo! Woo. Say, come on.
Woo.
In Tennessee, we say, come on.
Come on.
Spin the wheel, win a prize. Prizes change throughout the year and range in value from what to what? Oh, goodness gracious. So all you got to do is tell people, get them here, get your butt here, get somebody else's butt here, then share it on Facebook and check in on Facebook when you arrive. That's all you got to do. Punch card stamps are only for the in-person attendees. In other words, you can't sit at home in your slippers and like it and get a bunch of stamps. Get a bunch of stamps on your stamp card. Good idea or good idea? Good idea. Fabulous idea. Great. So I just wanted to show people the website because there will be a patient portal on there. And the patient portal, you'll be able to download your supplement schedule. You'll be able to, we've been working on it. We've been getting a lot of stuff done. You'll be able to download your supplement schedule. You'll be able to get the quizzes, the handouts that we have for you. You'll be able to download all of that stuff. It's a lot easier to put it all on portal. I'm not even going to talk about what's getting delivered on Friday. We'll drop that. Whoa, who is that? Who was that voice? Goodness gracious. He sounded smart. I'm not even talking about what's happening Friday. We're getting something delivered Friday that's going to radically change this whole town. Can't wait. Come to the next class. We'll talk all about it. And so just with all of this in kind of culminating now with this year coming up, there are some major topics in healthcare that you all need to know about. But here's what I want you to get out of all of this. If you stood up and left right now, here's what I want you to get. Even if you were to start today, say you're 40, 50, 60 years old, and you've kind of just gone through listening to what we're about to show you and reading what we're about to show you and understanding just kind of what you've been led to believe all of these times, all of these years. If you were to turn this Titanic of your life and your health around, right now, starting today, rebuilding your body with natural whole foods, plants and animals like what we teach, detoxing, doing the saunas, doing the foot spas, getting adjusted, doing laser, doing PEMF therapy, all this stuff that we do, even if you were to turn that Titanic around right now, it would take 2 to 3 years to get the full wind at your back. Because there's been so much misinformation, there's been so much stuff built up in your body and your mind and your heart to try to get rid of this stuff. What we're trying to say is get started now doing something going in the opposite direction of where you have currently been going for the last years of your life. It ain't about money. It never was about the money. How do I know? Because people are paying insurance premiums for something they hate, drugs and surgery. And then they come in, they tell me they throw the drugs away, but they're paying $400 for a premium on an insurance premium. And then they've got a deductible on top of that, and then they've got co-insurance and co-pays and prescription costs. Not about the money. It's the fact that you value having that insurance policy over rebuilding your body. That's the thing. You value having that insurance policy over the value of rebuilding your body. I can say it again, but that's the thing. We've been led to believe that we need this thing in order to be safe. So If I say nothing else, or if you walk out right now, it means even if you're well, you've got to be actively proactive in avoiding the impending threats to your health that you're going to learn about right now. Next slide, please. Okay, so the trends in healthcare. If you were to look at what's going on in healthcare, how many of you know it's a wreck? Raise your hand if it's a wreck. How many of you trust the system? Ooh, I tricked you. I tricked you. So if you were to look at the trends in healthcare, these are the things you're seeing. I'm just going to boil it all down. I took a lot of love boiling all this stuff down so that you can see the big four things. If you were to look at all of the stuff that's published by all these big healthcare, managed care, HMO, insurance companies, these are the trends. And they all tie into what we're going to talk about. Here they are. Transition to value. What did we just talk about? You pay for what you value. It's not about the price tag, it's what you value. If you value a trip to the Bahamas over that shake at Wendy's, you'll save up for the trip to the Bahamas over that shake. It's because you value that trip more than the shake. Transition to value. So we're transitioning healthcare to value. What does that tell you that consumers think of it currently? If it's going to be valued, where is it currently? Consumer confidence way down. So increased value due to perceived lack of equal exchange. Does that make sense? In other words, people feel like they're getting ripped off. You know anybody like that? Have you been that person? Number two, consumerism. We're advocating health ownership for people. In other words, a lot of medical. This is from the medical standpoint, okay? A lot of insurance companies and everybody see that, okay? A lot of insurance companies and a lot of managed care organizations and things like that are saying consumerism. You got to take care of yourself. You got to walk. You got to get out of bed. Quit playing the video games. Quit eating crappy food. And they're making people be owners of their own health. Take ownership over their own health. So more exercise, and of course, we got to have better prescription coverage. This is the trends. This is not what I'm saying. This is garbage, but I'm going to prove to you why this is garbage. Does this make sense? This is not what I'm saying, but these are the trends that you will observe in healthcare. Number three, consolidation of services. If you can get your imaging, get your morphine, and get all of your cameras put down your throat and up your butt, all in one fell swoop in one place, that's wonderful. Very convenient. You know, you can go to get your oil changed and get your fast food all in one fell swoop, all in one spot. So the trend is toward consolidation of services, which means global conglomerates taking over your healthcare. And this is the big one, transformative innovation. Big word, transformative innovation for apps to monitor you. Hello, welcome. For apps to monitor your blood pressure, your heart rate, and you can all feel free, I don't know what you're doing back there, Andrew, but you just gave me an idea. You can all feel free to take pictures and share them on Facebook too. You just have to pay me $5 for each one. I'll sign it for 10. Just kidding. So apps, if you want to have an app on your phone that tracks your steps, if you want to have an app on your phone that shares your private information with a satellite, if you want to have an app on your phone that measures your blood pressure, your heart rate, the way you're feeling, and your emotions based upon the tone of your voice, that's where we're going. Electronic health records, so that we can consolidate with transformative innovation so that doctors somewhere will know exactly the 14 meds you're on so that they don't give you the one med that interacts with those 14. Robotic surgeries, because we can't trust humans to do it anymore. And we can't do it fast enough with humans. Apple Watches, so that once again, those almost implantable, we're almost there, those embedded implantable devices that are getting people closer to transhumanism, which we will talk about in detail. Genetic manipulation. We're at the point now, we are mixing human DNA. We are, say what? Oh yeah, we are mixing, this is a perfect place for a commercial break. We are mixing human DNA. You know we're making chimeras now, right? We're making half pig, half human. It's been going on for almost 2 decades. We cloned a sheep 20-something years ago, people. You think the governments of the world are not putting kids together with rabbits? Wake up. Genetic manipulation and data harvesting. So we are cloning, we are data harvesting as well as organ harvesting. We all know that's going on, right? So we're going to get into some big-time stuff. Now for your commercial break. From my mind, a patient said, from my mid-back and up, I felt stiff and slightly hunched, had to force shoulders and neck straight. But now, after a couple of weeks, no pressure in the upper back, could stand straight with ease, didn't have to fight to keep shoulders straight. Perfect. Wasn't that better than the other commercials you see? See what we're doing there? All right, so next please. So those are the big trends in healthcare. What does that tell you? People feel like they're getting ripped off. People aren't taking ownership of their own health. We're consolidating services because people just want to get everything in one place because they want to think it's medical McDonald's, right? And then the transformative innovation, we're going towards this thing that's booming for transhumanism. Does everybody know what transhumanism is? We talked about it a while back. It's the merging of man with machine. It is the AI, the Alexa, the Siri. It's Google finishing your search phrases for you. It's the artificial intelligence taking over so you don't have to make any decisions. It's us getting rid of autonomy. It's us getting rid of our driven cars and going driverless cars because now we've got 5G towers everywhere that is coordinating all these cars moving around. That's what the 5G's for. It ain't because you got to download more books. It ain't because you got to download more seasons and episodes, is it? You ain't got time to watch it anyway. Nobody asked for it. Nobody asked for 5G, did they? Nobody said, I need faster download speed. I cannot download as fast as I want. I need to radiate my body with increased radiation, and I need all of my neighbors with their 47 devices in their homes to increase their download speed so that I can get radiated through 12 walls, above, below, left, right, down, north, south, east, and west. Nobody asked for it. They're just rolling it out. If you want to know more about that, 5G and EMF course that I taught for like an hour and a half, it was crazy, on November. It was the first week in November. By the way, all these classes and stuff, all of the old classes can be seen on Facebook. And we're moving them all over to YouTube and a couple other places. So if you understand this stuff, people feel like they're getting ripped off. Except here. We'll get to that. Digital health tools. The other thing I wanted to read this little blurb. The implementation of remote patient monitoring by leveraging connected and wearable devices, sensors and trackers, will be platforms that gather patient-generated health data to facilitate disease management and patient engagement. You're going to manage disease now from watching somebody's blood pressure, heart rate, and I'm going to read you some stuff. Listen to this. I got this from a seminar I went to a while back. Listen to this. This is insanity. Insanity. So I won't go into the whole thing. I'm just going to skip. Google contact lenses will measure blood glucose in tiers of diabetics. Google contact lenses will measure your blood glucose in diabetics tiers. Okay? This is the future. This is where we're going. I'm just here to tell you. HoloLens by Microsoft will cast digital information into our field of sight. You've seen the stuff in sci-fi movies where it's in their eye and their retina. You're not seeing anything out here, but they're putting images into your eye. That's where they're going. HoloLens, it's Microsoft, okay? Surgeons will look inside organs without making incisions. This is my favorite. You know how they're using 3D printers now, right? You just get a little chunk of stuff and you put it on the printer and the thing does the thing and it creates the little printout. You'll be printing, medical 3D printing of organs, glands, and cells is on the way. Healthline 2020, you want to know what's up? Oh, we'll blow your mind. Personalized pharmaceutical drugs will soon be printed at home. You ain't going to print anything at home that's good going in your body. I can assure you of that. Can I get an amen on that? iKnife heats tissues to make incisions with minimal blood loss while analyzing vapor with mass spectrometry to identify malignant tissue in real time. In other words, as the iKnife cuts into your tissue, it will vaporize it, sense it with a mass spectrometer, and be able to tell you if this tumor is malignant or not. Sounds good on the surface, doesn't it? Oh, we can know if it's malignant or benign. Sounds good for a second, until you realize something. Oh, and then here's a few more. Oh, yeah. Check this out. Wearable, what does this sound like? Anybody? Wearable and embedded e-skin sensors can collect and transmit data 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, to your iCloud. Wearable and embedded e-skin sensors. How many of you want one of those?
My iCloud's full.
My iCloud's full. Honey, I'm sure you can buy extra storage.
You can, but I'm not gonna.
Oh, maybe you should.
So mine won't work.
IBM's Watson can review, Watson is an AI, can review 40 million documents in 15 seconds to assist physicians in critical decision making.
That's scary.
That's exactly why they're doing it. Don't you know? So that the doctors can sift through your piles of medical records before they give you that final, that final little until they give you that push. They're just digging through your medical records, If Watson is reviewing 40 million documents in 15 seconds to assist physicians in critical decision making, it's already happening. This was a year and a half ago I went to this seminar. And you know who was talking about this? A chiropractor. He thought it was the best thing ever. I thought he was nuts. Okay, here's Adam Wise and Google DeepMind Health. Google DeepMind Health. That's a term. Google. It's Google. It's DeepMind Health. Are other examples of this, like IBM's Watson, like AI, medical AI. This, and he stated something that blew my face off. I could not believe. He said, we need to embrace technology. After saying all this, he said, we need to embrace technology, but not let it run our lives. I wanted to go up go up to him afterwards and say, hey, you're a big proponent of gene editing for humans. I just noticed that you said that, and I thought, do you like to eat genetically modified food? Because I know what he's going to say. So why would he be a proponent of genetically modified humans? Isn't that interesting? So the doublespeak that you're about to hear knows no ends. Okay, moving on. Let's go to the WHO. World Health Organization, top 10 threats in the world right now. Top 10 threats. You want to know what's on the cusp for healthcare? Here we go. We need to be on this pup. Yeah? Top 10 threats. Because we're going to move through this. World Health Organization issued a top 10 threats thing for the global. I want to read through this, and I want to show you what every one of them has to do with. Okay? Scroll up so everybody can see the actual title of it. Up. Top 10 threats to global health. Let's go slowly, please. Go down. World Health Organization. See, what do they put right here? Okay, I want you to think, if nothing else, think. What's the first thing you see? An impoverished child clutching at a scarf. We're saving the world. See where we're going? Scroll down. Boom, boom, boom. First thing they say, world's facing multiple health challenges that range from outbreaks of vaccine-preventable diseases. First thing they mention. Like measles and diphtheria, increasing reports of drug-resistant pathogens, growing rates of obesity and physical inactivity to the health impacts of environmental pollution and climate change, and multiple humanitarian crises. Scroll down. Here are 10 of the many issues that will demand attention from the World Health Organization and health partners. This is in 2019, but they're all still there. It's 2020. I saw this, I came across this article and thought, oh my goodness. Let's look at this. Air pollution and climate change. Get the next one ready because I want you to see this. 9 out of 10 people breathe polluted air every day. Pollution is considered by the WHO as the greatest environmental risk to health. Okay? They're talking about the primary cause of air pollution, burning fossil fuels. Note that. Burning fossil fuels. Note that. Is also a major contributor to climate change, which impacts people's health in different ways. How many of you have ever heard anything about climate change other than you're causing it? And it's the fossil fuels. You want to see one thing about what's causing the climate change? Go to the next web page, please. Oh, geez, I wonder what this is. The government calls it geoengineering, where we're modifying weather so that we're saving you from global warming. But if you read through this entire website, scroll down just a little bit. Dane Wigington is a scientist who's monitored this for almost 3 decades. If you just scroll down, there's article after article. Have you ever seen these in Cleveland? Did you see them last week, right before we had tornadoes and right before we had crazy amounts of weather and right before everything got just nasty cold? Did you ever notice this? You want to know what's in there? Come to one of the classes where we talk about it. You want to know what's in there? Come to the 2 classes that we have on Facebook where we talked about it the last 2 summers. Scroll down. Geoengineering answers to the most commonly asked questions. These are not regular flight paths of jets, people. If you think that, you're nuts. Now scroll up. There's a lot of stuff. See, this thing goes on and on and on and on and on. But go all the way up to the top. I want you to look. There's health. There's geoengineering. Oh, it's in a different order. Okay. No, go all the way up. So documents, government documents talking about climate change, talking about how we've done it for 60 years now. We've been modifying the climate, modifying the weather. Can you change the food? Can you change the seeds if you modify the weather? Can you change global immigration patterns if you modify the weather? Can you change the paths of hurricanes and tornadoes if you change the weather? Can you change growing seasons? Can you change wars if you change the weather? Just ask the Russians and the Germans. Remember that one? Check this out. Patents. If you go there and you click on patents, you'll see government patents for all this stuff. It's right there. It's right under your nose. Resources. More resources than you'll ever have time to read. HAARP. High Altitude Atmospheric Radiation Pulse. It's a big giant base up in Alaska. You guys need to know about this stuff. But you are being told that climate change is being caused by your SUV. The biggest threat to global health, air pollution? Are you kidding me? Now let's go back to what the WHO says. That's the top website in the world about this, and you can follow rabbit trails on the chemtrails all day long. But y'all need to know about this. What are we doing? Oh, commercial break. Great. All right, commercial break. And now back to our commercials. I went on a 10-day cruise to the West Indies. The morning after I returned, I weighed. I'd not gained a pound. How many of you know? That's a big deal. Somebody, Clevelander going on a cruise and not gaining a pound? That's like parting the Red Sea right there, isn't it? I'd learned the right way to eat from Divine Design. And now back to our sponsors. Here we are. So let's keep going on. The next one is, so I just want you to understand the air pollution, the documents, the patents, the resources, HARP, all of that. We discussed this in previous WellWorks classes. And the recent weather that we had was a mess, and you need to know this. I led the girls out it was a Monday, Tuesday? Yeah, it was early in the week last week. And I had a patient actually ask me, what do you think about the C word, chemtrails? And I just looked at her and said, you know, it's funny, I was going to walk the girls outside and show them the skies today, because I had not seen the skies like this in years. It's on a Tuesday morning. I had not seen the skies like this in years. And of course, we walked outside, and I said, anybody notice anything interesting? And they just kind of all looked around a little bit, and sooner or later, they all looked up and said, what in the world is that? They're not regular clouds. We won't get into it right now, but then I said, okay, that's great, and I explained it to them about this. Now let's go to non-communicable diseases. Back to the WHO website, please. And then right from the back patio of this building, you can see the brand new 5G tower they put up just behind Hobby Lobby. So I said, perfect. Once we get all this in our lungs and then they crank up the heat on the 5G tower, this will be wonderful. If you are not paying attention to what's going on, you will be fried. Now is not the time to turn your back on your health. Like I said, 2 to 3 years to get some wind at your back on all this. Huge deal, huge deal. Detox, get this stuff out of your body. Next one down. So remember, this is air pollution and climate change. They're telling you non-communicable diseases. What does non-communicable mean? Cannot be spread. This is your cancer. This is your heart disease. This is your diabetes. These are all your lifestyle things. I want you to notice what it says right here. I mean, you cannot make this up. This is the leading entity on Earth for world health. Are you ready? Non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, cancer, and heart disease are collectively responsible for over 70% of all deaths worldwide. What does that tell you about the rest of everything we're going to read? Very minimal, right? If right here, non-communicable diseases, what do diabetes, cancer, and heart disease all have in common? They're lifestyle diseases. In other words, they're completely preventable. World Health Organization, not mentioning that. 70% of all deaths worldwide, so everything from here on out is going to be complete statistical insignificance. Note that, okay? This includes 15 million people dying prematurely, aged between what and what? Between 30 and 69. Why is everybody dying between 30 and 69? Isn't that nuts? 70% of people. You can read the rest of this, but that's basically about it. Oh, but half of all mental illness begins by the age of 14. They don't tell you why. How many kids you know on Prozac, Ritalin, Adderall, psych meds? Feel free to grab some of these brochures that we have in the office, the anti-anxiety drugs, the antipsychotic drugs. Pick those up, spread them out. You'd be shocked. Read about some of this stuff. So keep that in mind. If 70% of people are dying from preventable lifestyle diseases, what is it that we're reading right here? What did Carolyn just say? I learned how to eat from Divine Design. She's 70 years old. She's been eating for 3 meals a day for 70 years. I taught her how to eat. Come on now. Where was the World Health Organization? Right? Next. Let's scroll down on this page. Sorry, I should be more clear. Okay. Global influenza pandemic. The world will face another influenza pandemic. The only thing we don't know is when it will hit and how severe it will be. Sounds like a zombie movie, doesn't it? And what's the cure in the zombie movies? What's the cure? How do you fix? No, that's the cure. Shoot them in the head. That's your cure. That's not their cure. How do you cure this? How do you cure the zombie? How do you cure the zombie? Antidote in what form? A what? A shot. Everybody.
Not from a gun.
From a needle. Oh yeah, Danny was a nurse in the Navy, so he knows both. He knows how to do both. A shot. It's always the fix, right? So this first paragraph, or this, no statistics are given for such a formidable challenge, okay? Global defenses are only as effective as the weakest link. The WHO is constantly monitoring the circulation of influenza viruses to detect potential pandemic strains. 153 institutions in 114 countries are involved in global surveillance and response. But we don't know about this politician's taxes and who he was with the other night and where the kids are gone? We're monitoring circulation of influenza viruses with 153 institutions in 114 countries, and you're telling me we don't know where half these people have disappeared? Are you nuts? If you believe that, I've got oceanfront property in like Montana for you. We're monitoring microscopic organisms with 153 institutions in 114 countries. You expect me to believe that? But what is the cure what is the fix for the global influenza pandemic? A shot. You're going to notice a very interesting theme for numbers 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I promise. So, no mention of flu strains, but the WHO recommends which strain should be included in the flu vaccine to protect people from seasonal flu. You know what I noticed? You know what I realized for a while back? We get this propagation of there's a new flu every year. It's a lie. When was the last time you heard of a new flu virus? When was the last time? They name the flu for the area they find it in. You ever notice that? Huh? Was that a new strain? Where are these viruses coming from? Funny, huh? Isn't that interesting? And then you see this dying guy here on the, God bless him, but you know. I mean, this is the World Health Organization, people. This should be like, okay, what's the solution? Here's the problem. Here's how we're going to fix it. We've got all of these resources, 153 institutions. You give me 153 institutions, brother, and you'll see a turnaround. We'll put the funeral parlors out of business. You give me 153 institutions. You get 114 countries. Stand back, get out of my way. Okay? So they name the flu for the area they find it in, but it's an old organism. Okay? The constant, uncontrollable supply of new flu viruses is a complete media hoax for you to buy flu vaccines. Number 4, going back to the WHO website, fragile and vulnerable settings. This says nothing. This says the WHO will continue to work in these countries to strengthen health systems so that they're better protected to detect and respond to outbreaks of what? Outbreaks of what? Flus. As well as able to deliver more high-quality health services, including what? Immunizations. Another word for what? Shots. Quick note, immunization and vaccination are 2 different things. Your body is immunized against something when it comes into your body through your skin, your mucous membranes, your mouth. Vaccination and immunization are not the same thing. Your body gets immunized to a certain pathogen. The minute it breaks the skin or gets into your body creates an immune response. You are immunized to that thing. Immunizations and vaccinations. Vacca is the Italian, I just leaked all over myself, I'm sorry. Vacca is the Italian word for cow. Vaccination comes from the word cow because William Jenner rubbed cowpox into his son's skin, rubbed it onto the cut in his skin, did not inject it directly into his bloodstream. That is not what a vaccination was. He rubbed it into his skin and the kid didn't get smallpox. Notice that he did the experiment on whom? His child. Interesting. Okay? So, including immunization. So what does this all say? Yo, when there's an outbreak, we're going to pump you full. Next, scroll. Antimicrobial resistance. Oh, interesting. Biggest global health threat, number 5, antimicrobial resistance. Where did the antimicrobial resistance come from? Hospitals, antibiotics, doctor's visits, your kid getting, ear infections and being pumped up on antibiotics for 9 months at a time. Danny, how long are people supposed to be on antibiotics?
7 days.
7 days. I know people have been on antibiotics for 2 years. World Health Organization. Drug resistance is driven by the, scroll down. Drug resistance is driven by the overuse of antimicrobial, get this. Oh, get this. See if you catch this. Drug resistance is given by, give me some love on Facebook if somebody catches this. Read this last paragraph. Drug resistance is given by the overuse of antimicrobials in people, but also in animals, especially those used for food production, as well as in the environment. World Health Organization is working with these sectors to implement a global action plan to tackle antimicrobial resistance by increasing awareness and knowledge, reducing infection, and encouraging prudent use of antimicrobials. What doesn't fit there? Anyone?
They're saying they're going to fix the problem.
Right there.
Work the cause.
We're going to tackle antimicrobial resistance by encouraging use of antimicrobials. You can't make this up. This is what they expect you to believe. They think you're this stupid. Seriously? Antimicrobial resistance. Where do you get MRSA and C. diff, Danny? Hospitals. Everybody's scared of MRSA. Methicillin resistant, that's the drug that kills the Staphylococcus aureus. Methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus, MRSA. You only find that in hospitals. And C. difficile, which stinks to high heaven, you only find that in hospitals. You can't make this up. Oh, commercial break. Thank you. We're going to have to have more commercials. Goodness gracious. In the last year, I've started to have neuropathy in my feet. Somebody just became a patient back in December. After my first adjustment, my feet felt better. Huh. That's a commercial I'd love to hear. I'd watch that commercial all day long. My circulation had improved, and I had no nerve pain for 3 days. Now back to our sponsors. Antimicrobial existence, encouraging prudent use of antimicrobials. Number 6, Ebola and other high-threat pathogens. Ebola. Oh, goodness. Oh, goodness. What is Ebola? I could go into that right now. There are books written on it already. I won't go into it. But if you scroll down here, the watch list for priority, this watch list, so the WHO's Research and Development Blueprint identifies diseases and pathogens that have potential to cause a public health emergency, but lack effective treatments and what? This watch list for priority research and development includes Ebola, several other hemorrhagic fevers, Zika. Heard of that one? How is Zika spread? Say it louder. Mosquitoes. I want you to log that in your memory here for a minute. Okay? Then we've got Nipah. We've got Middle East Respiratory Syndrome Coronavirus, or MERS-CoV. How's that one spread? We'll come back to that. And disease, and then severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS. You've all heard of that on, where have you heard of SARS? How do you know what SARS is? Where have you heard of SARS? Oh, that's a sexy voice right there. Where have you heard that? Where have you heard that term SARS? Where have you heard that? How would you know what SARS is? It's on TV. Okay? Severe acute respiratory syndrome and disease X. Oh my God, they finally named a disease. Disease X. Now, all these things have something in common, but just notice the names, and it's all stuff you've heard of, right? But we got, which represents the need to prepare for an unknown pathogen that could cause a serious epidemic. How are we preparing for a serious pathogen that could cause a serious epidemic? Shots, right? We'll come back to this, but just for right now, know that Ebola and the other high-risk pathogens, next website. What they just listed right there, half of them come from study on DNA spread by genetically modified mosquitoes prompts backlash. They're genetically modifying the mosquitoes to be vectors for disease. Who's not telling you about that? But we know that some of these things, dengue fever, where does it come from? Zika virus, where does it come from? Severe acute respiratory sickness, where does it come from?
So they're releasing them?
I don't know. Scroll down. Scroll down. I'll read it for you. Now a team of independent researchers analyzing an early trial of Oxitec. Oxitec is the biopharma company that's releasing it all, right? Raising alarm and drawing fire from the firm with a report that some offspring of the genetically modified mosquitoes survived and produced offspring that also made it to sexual maturity. What they did was they genetically modified the mosquitoes and released them, saying, these mosquitoes can't breed. They're going to release an enzyme when they breed that kills the other thing. But keep reading. Kills the other mate. Keep reading. There's no evidence that these hybrids endanger humans more than the wild mosquitoes. When did we do a double-blind placebo clinical study with genetically modified mosquitoes and make sure that they couldn't harm humans? Think about it. Okay? Oxytec, or that they'll render Oxytec's strategy ineffective. Both the paper's authors and the company agree. The important thing is something unanticipated happened. It says population geneticist Jeffrey Powell of Yale. They always put in where they go to school. Isn't that interesting? Who did the study with Brazilian researchers. When people develop transgenic, what does transgenic mean? Transgenic means you have the DNA of you and the DNA of what? What did you just get injected into you?
A mosquito.
DNA.
DNA, yeah.
Transgenic. You've heard of transgender.
So you have something else or something else's DNA
Trans
injected
means
into
other.
you.
Other DNA. Okay? When people develop transgenic lines or anything to release, almost all of their information comes from laboratory studies. Things don't always work out the way you expect. Whoops! You ever heard of thalidomide? Anybody know what thalidomide was? Oh. Anybody hear of thalidomide? Nobody remembers the thalidomide, the anti-nausea drug that was given to women?
Yeah, I remember.
What happened to the babies?
Oh, yeah.
Anti-nausea drugs given to pregnant women back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. Whole generation of kids born with without what and without what?
Spina bifida, wasn't it?
Arms and legs. Whole bunch of kids born with fins. Yeah. Interesting, huh? But the paper's suggestion that this genetic mixing could have made the mosquito population more robust, more resistant to insecticides, for example, or more likely to transmit disease, has triggered anti-genetically modified news reports, a backlash from some scientists, a strong pushback from Oxytec. The company, a subsidiary of U.S. biotech Intrexon, sounds like a pagan god, Intrexon, has a lot at stake. It recently submitted a new generation of its genetically modified mosquitoes for U.S. regulatory review and hopes to conduct its first U.S. field test next year. You know, Zantac was pulled off the market when they figured out it was causing cancer, right? How many years had that been on the market? Cleared by the FDA. Every drug that was ever banned was cleared by the FDA. You think our regulators are going to pass these genetically modified mosquitoes through? What are we going to figure out 20 years from now about these guys? Next one about the mosquitoes, genetically. Yeah, this is wild. This is wild. Scroll down. Yes, it's true. Genetically engineered mosquitoes, which are bred in the lab to transmit a gene during the reproductive process that kills their offspring, have already been used on an experimental basis in 3 countries to counteract the quickly spreading mosquito-borne viral infection, dengue fever, which you'll read about as number 10 of the World Health threats. Okay? The World Health Organization estimates nearly 100 million cases of humans infected with dengue fever. You know how many people are on the planet? 7 billion. What's 100 million? 100 million? That's about, well, how many people die of pharmaceuticals in a certain amount of time? We'll get to that. What does dengue fever cause? A severe what kind of illness?
Flu-like.
Flu-like. So are you going to differentiate it from the flu in these third world countries where people are getting bit by genetically modified mosquitoes? Seriously. British company, scroll down. I just want one more paragraph right here. Oxytec first released some of the genetically modified mosquitoes in the Cayman Islands in the Caribbean 11 years ago. When did you hear about it? When did you hear about it?
Today.
Today? You didn't get the memo? I'm sorry. It's in your spam filter. All right? Much to the surprise of international community and environmental advocates, many of whom are opposed to genetic engineering in any of its forms due to unknown and unintended side effects that unleashing transgenic organisms into the world could cause. Moving on. Number 7, weak primary health care. This is the number 7 health care threat from the World Health Organization. Weak primary health care. Read this. Primary health care is usually the first point of contact people have with their health care system and ideally should provide comprehensive, affordable, community-based care throughout life. Ideally, it should. Primary health care can meet the majority of a person's health needs over the course of their life. Health systems with strong primary health care are needed to achieve universal health coverage. Do you get this, malarkey? Who wrote this? Who wrote this? Many countries do not have adequate primary health care facilities. Duh. But this is a threat to global health? Think about it. And what was that first thing I said about transfer of value? Right? Right here. Usually, primary health is the first point of contact people have with the healthcare system, and ideally should provide comprehensive, affordable, community-based care throughout life. What does that tell you? If that's ideal, what does that tell you about what's really happening? It's not being provided. Because, how do I know? Read the title again of this article. Scroll up, please. Please, please. Up, up, up. Weak primary health care. It's telling you the system's broken. Next, number 8. Oh, this one. Love this. What did all the other articles have to do with? In the top 10, shocker, 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 top 10 global threats to healthcare. What was the other theme? The overarching theme. What was it? Say it louder.
Shots.
Yeah, vaccines, right? This is the number 9 global health threat. Vaccine hesitancy. The reluctance or refusal to vaccinate, despite the availability of vaccines, threatens to reverse progress made in tackling vaccine-preventable diseases. Vaccination is one of the most cost-effective ways of avoiding disease. It currently prevents, if you're dead. Yeah. It currently prevents 2 to 3 million deaths a year, and a further 1.5 million could be avoided if global coverage of vaccinations improved. Are you serious? Did you see the numbers that we just talked about on dengue fever? And they're saying that's only the number that we could save if everybody got the shots? Did you see the numbers? The comparison? What was the 70% of people died from what? What was that? Lifestyle. That was the heart disease, the cancer, the diabetes. 3 diseases takes out 70% of people. So if we come up with a cancer vaccine and it goes mandatory, who gets it? Everybody. If we come up with a diabetes vaccine, whether you eat well or not, who gets it if it's mandatory? Say it louder. Who gets it? If we come up with a heart disease vaccine, or let's say since there's 150 different heart diseases, 150 different vaccines, there's 300 in the pipeline right now coming for your blood. If we came up with a heart disease vaccine and it's mandatory, who gets it? Everyone. If we came up with a toenail fungus vaccine and vaccines are mandatory, who gets it? If we came up with a diarrhea vaccine, a projectile diarrhea vaccine, and it's mandatory, who gets it? If we came up with a yeast infection vaccine, and it's mandatory, who gets it? Right here, vaccine hesitancy. They're saying that because you want to read the research and you want to read the science and you want to understand something from the standpoint of not being force-fed crap from the makers of the vaccines who can't be sued, if you want to be hesitant about vaccines, it doesn't say anti-vax. It says vaccine hesitant. Hey, I don't want to put 14 vaccines in the kid right now. Let's let him age a few years. Just hold off. Vaccine hesitancy. This is a global health threat. Okay? Go to the next article, pretty please. Oh, hold on. Stay there. Hold on. Read the entire article here. Okay? Measles, for example, has seen a 30% increase in cases globally. The reasons for this are complex. Not all these cases are due to vaccine hesitancy. Because most of them, you know why? They're all vaccinated. Where'd they get the measles? However, some countries that were close to eliminating the disease have seen a resurgence. The reasons why people choose not to vaccinate are complex. A vaccines advisory group to the WHO identified complacency, they're just too lazy. Inconvenience in accessing vaccines, lack of confidence are key reasons underlying hesitancy. Health workers, especially those in communities, do you know any health workers who are not in communities? Name a health worker who's not in a community. Tarzan? Health workers, especially those in communities, remain the most trusted advisor and influencer of vaccination decisions, and they must be supported to provide trusted, credible information on vaccines. Trusted, credible information on vaccines. Healthcare workers, who do they get their trusted, credible information from? What sources do the workers get their information from? The makers of the vaccines. Continue reading. The WHO will ramp up work to eliminate cervical cancer. How are they going to do that?
Vaccine.
What vaccine eliminates cervical cancer? Huh?
The HPV.
Also known as Gardasil, yes, which is the most dangerous vaccine there is. By increasing coverage of the HPV vaccine, among other interventions. 2019 may also be the year when transmission of wild polio virus is stopped in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Since when does the WHO care about Afghanistan and Pakistan? Keep reading. Last year, less than 30 cases were reported in both countries. No. Keep reading. Last year, less than 30 cases were reported in both countries. You can't make this up. How many cases? And it's a pandemic. Did you see that? WHO and partners are committed to supporting these countries to vaccinate who?
Every child.
Read it louder. Vaccinate who?
Every last child.
Out. And how many people got sick?
30.
And what are they going to do? to eradicate this crippling disease for good. You cannot make this up. This is not fiction. Okay? Go to the New Jersey deal. Next thing. I'm gonna blow through this stuff because this is hardcore. New Jersey. Last week, New Jersey vaccine bill to end religious exemptions fails, but debate rages on. Play the video for me. Check this out. The first sentence. The first sentence. Watch this. It's a 2-minute video. Check it out. If they take away your religious exemptions, ooh. There we go. Just ask New York.
Vaccination debate rages on in this country, even though we know vaccinations are safe and necessary. Lawmakers in New Jersey failed to pass a bill that would have eliminated religious exemptions for school-required vaccinations. And a new poll shows support for vaccinations has dropped 10% in the U.S. over the past 2 decades. Meg Oliver now on what's driving the decline.
New Jersey is the latest state fighting over vaccination requirements for children to attend public school. On Monday, thousands protested a bill that would eliminate religious exemptions. Lisa DeRogatis has never vaccinated her 3 children.
I feel like this is a fascist overreach of the government and taking away religious and medical freedoms.
The new poll shows a 20-year drop in vaccine support among all age groups, the steepest, ages 30 to 49, at 12%. But 86% of Americans say vaccines are not more dangerous than the diseases they prevent. Dr. Peter Hotez is an infectious disease specialist.
We're seeing a decline because of a rise in anti-vaccine misinformation coupled with political activities.
5 states have banned non-medical exemptions, including New York, which eliminated its religious exemption last year after measles outbreaks that started in 2018. Public health officials say vaccine rates need to stay high, above 90%, to protect those who can't be vaccinated, babies and those who are immune compromised.
Until we step up our level of advocacy and take down the fake information, the measles epidemics that we saw in 2019 are going to become a new normal in America.
The World Health Organization called skepticism about vaccines one of the top 10 global health threats in 2019. At a summit last month, they said more doctor training is needed to address concerns from the public. Nora?
An education campaign. Meg, thank you.
And effective. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that entire group of people that look like Madison Square Garden on New Year's Eve, do you think that that entire group of people is a bunch of stupid people? Or do you think they're educated moms that might have awakened to something? The whole state, there were millions of people, walked to the Capitol. They were shouting in the streets. These people are not stupid people. Oh, time for a commercial break. And then we'll come back to our sponsors. Another testimonial. Pretty much every time I ate, I felt like crap. Bloated, heartburn, upset stomach. Generally, like I had a brick in my stomach. The bloating has gone away. Heartburn's almost entirely gone. No more bricks in my stomach. And now, back to our sponsors. So one thing I want to show, too, before we have a guest testimonial here. The vaccine hesitancy thing. The last paragraph, that polio, go back to that last paragraph on that thing. I want you to see another little thing they tried to slip past you. Right here. Last year, less than 30 cases were reported in both countries. WHO and partners are committed to supporting these countries to vaccinate every last child. Where does it say that the wild polio virus only attacks children? You see that? To vaccinate every last child. Every last child. I want to show you something else. The big bad cough GSK video. You got to see this. Oh, and let's go to that slide just so you can see. I first saw this poster at a place here in town I was speaking at with a bunch of crunchy granola stay-at-home moms. I'd gone there to speak, and I saw this picture of the big bad wolf, and I read this thing. It was a medical clinic. If y'all can't see that, what does that remind you of? What kid was not scared, petrified, senseless of the story of the big bad wolf, Little Red Riding Hood? Okay? I want you to see how deep this goes neurologically into your brain. Grandma, what a big whooping cough you have. Grandma, of course, is the big bad wolf, Little Red Riding Hood. If I can see this. Understand the danger your grandchild faces from whooping cough. It's a highly contagious disease that can be especially serious, even fatal for infants. Okay? This is pertussis, so the DPT shot, DTP shot, diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis. Unfortunately, many people who spread it may not even know they have it. So is that faith or fear? Fear. Fear. If you have a new grandchild or one on the way, talk to your doctor or pharmacist about ways you can help protect your child, yourself and your family from whooping cough, including getting vaccinated. Okay? The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, if you know anything about what's going on with the whistleblower case, that's a topic of another class coming up soon in quarter 2, recommends everyone, including those around babies, make sure their whooping cough vaccination's up to date. But what about your diarrhea vaccine? Can't diarrhea kill an infant? What about your SARS vaccine? What about your Zika vaccine? What about your dengue vaccine? What about this? What about, you can't be around my kid if you don't have your dengue vaccine. They're dropping off mosquitoes. You see where this is going? So look at this. Then we could play the video. It's sickening. We have to see this. It's absolutely stupid. It's so sickening. Okay, yeah, because then I'll just blast through the rest of this. I want you to see how they do this. This was a commercial that GlaxoSmithKline put out during the whole whooping cough. 2015-ish. Play this. It's just a 2-minute video.
So around 2 or 3 years ago, we really started to investigate what is going to be the best way for us as a company to help improve immunization rates among adults.
The CDC recommends that everyone around babies be up to date on their vaccinations.
But we're nowhere near where we need to be.
There's one farther in, more disturbing than that, when she picks up the baby and she turns into this menacing wolf. It's just straight up, it makes me sick. Vaccine hesitancy Wikipedia, we'll get to well here, let's talk about this for a second, and then I want Andrea to come up for a minute. The vaccine hesitancy Wikipedia thing, I just want you to see real quick where we're going with this, where anything on printable media, even nowadays, can be changed. We'll get into that later on. But anything on digital media can most certainly be changed at the click of a button. This vaccine hesitancy thing, do we have that? The Wikipedia link? I just want you to see, if you do a quick Wikipedia, which of course is the purveyor of all worthwhile and trustworthy information, is of course Wikipedia. Because who can write on Wikipedia? Everybody. Right. Vaccine hesitancy, also known as anti-vaccination or anti-vax, is a reluctance or refusal to be vaccinated or to have one's children vaccinated against contagious disease. Identified by the World Health Organization was the top 10 global health threats of 2019. You notice in the top 10 global health threats of 2019, they didn't notice, well, we'll get to that, the stuff they left out, the stuff they never talked about. It's identified, the term encompasses outright refusal to vaccinate, delaying vaccines, accepting vaccines but remaining uncertain about their use, or using certain vaccines but not others. So you can't get around it. You either take the whole thing or you just are vaccine hesitant. And see, I don't want to turn this class into a vaccine thing. But the WHO, just out of those 10 things, 8 of them had to do with vaccines. Doesn't seem to be a big deal, right? Arguments against vaccination are contradicted by what? Read it with me. Overwhelming, let's keep blowing it up a little bit. Overwhelming scientific consensus about the safety and efficacy of vaccines. Really? Wow. Arguments against vaccination are contradicted by overwhelming scientific consensus. Hesitancy primarily results from public debates about the medical, ethical, and legal issues relating to vaccines. Stems from multiple key factors, including their lack of confidence, mistrust of the healthcare providers. Remember that first point we made, that people felt like they were getting ripped off? Complacency. They don't see a need for the vaccine. Why do I need a diarrhea vaccine? I don't have diarrhea. Why do I need a cervical cancer vaccine? I don't have a cervix. But they're giving HPV. They're giving Gardasil to boys. Hello. Hello. Or the convenience. Well, it's just not accessible to me. It's existed since the invention of vaccination and predates the coining of the term vaccine and vaccination by nearly 80 years. Story that I told about the Raggedy Ann doll a few times back. Raggedy Ann. Look up the history of the Raggedy Ann doll. See what the Raggedy Ann doll actually was and who made it. Okay? Scientific hypotheses raised by anti-vaccination advocates have been found to change over time. Vaccine hesitancy often results in disease outbreaks and deaths from vaccine-preventable diseases, like the 30 people in Afghanistan and Pakistan that we have to vaccinate the entire country for. All right, move on. Andrea. So probably what, year and a half we decided? Andrea just started here a couple months ago, about a month and a half ago. And I'll let you tell the whole story, but come on up and let's do a handheld mic right here. Welcome, yes, welcome Andrea. She's solid. She's on the team, and I just want you to kind of tell your story about why you came and what you thought, and then what you did. Just what we talked about today. Take it away.
I never used my phone. I first started coming to Dr. Sprathen's classes.
Sorry. All right. Sorry. Hold on. Oh, here we go. There we go.
Is that better? Okay. There we go. So I first started coming to Dr. Sprathen's classes about a year and a half ago after my sister-in-law had been a patient for about 6 or so months. And the first class that I came to was about children's health. And I have 2 kids, so I was particularly interested in that because I was interested to see what he had to say about it, because I knew that he's a natural health doctor and we wanted to do things as naturally as possible for our kids. So the first class that I came to was the children's health class, and I was tracking with pretty much everything that he was saying, and he was talking about vaccine. And again, I was tracking with pretty much everything that he was saying as far as the chemicals and other things that are in vaccinations, until he got to the part where he talked about aborted fetal cells being in there. And I was like, okay, I'm sure that he's right about all this other stuff, but there's no way that he's right about that, because that just seems absurd, and there's no way that that's necessary. So there's no way he's right about that. I'll give him the others, but I'm going to look it up for myself and, prove that he's wrong, and then I'll go let him know that he's wrong.
Remember the transgenic.
Yeah. So I went home and I spent actually a few months really doing research on each of the ingredients in every single vaccine, which you can find that list on the CDC website. Actually, every single vaccine that's offered, they have a list of the ingredients. Well, they're all really creatively named, so I didn't know what a lot of them were. So I started looking up what every single different ingredient was, and I started finding out that a lot of them, even on medical journals, they'll explicitly say what it is and why it's not safe to consume. And again, those were on medical journals. It wasn't even hippy-dippy homeschool, out there hippies that were writing articles to say that. It was published, peer-reviewed medical journals that were saying these things. But I had been tracking with him on that during the class. But then when I started, when I got to 2 particular ingredients, MRC5 and human diploid cells, when I looked up what those were, and I found out that those are aborted fetal cells. One of them is from a 14-week-old fetus. One of them started with, started with a 16-week-old fetus. Again, aborted fetal cells. My mind was blown, and that's when we started asking questions at our pediatrician. Started asking for the vaccine inserts that talk about how the vaccines have been tested, what they've been tested on, what those studies have proven. I had no idea that stuff was even available. When I asked my pediatrician for them, she didn't want to give them to me, but we did get them. But that's when I was empowered to really start asking questions and taking ownership over my own health, but more importantly, the health of my children, because they were so small, and the first 5 years of life are really the most developmentally jam-packed years of their life. I studied child development in college. But those are the most formative years of their life, and those are the years when they're getting the most stuff pumped into them. Yeah. So I was really empowered to just start asking questions. And I am just thankful to the Lord that I was empowered to do that before something did happen to my children. Because I started hearing and looking up, hearing and seeing lots of testimonies of people that have had lots of negative side effects from medications, different vaccinations, and I was just grateful to the Lord again that He protected our kids while we were still sheepling into their healthcare decisions.
Sheepling.
Yeah.
People and sheep. Yeah.
So we've just been empowered to start learning.
Thank you.
And being educated and
awesome.
Asking.
That's all it's about. Thank you. Any questions for Andrea here? It's pretty simple. You come to one of these classes, you might learn something that will save. Yeah. Oh, and the curtsy. She's got the curtsy down. You come to one of these classes, and see, I run into it all the time. People come to one of these and they think they know everything. Not in a bad way, but they think they've heard everything there is to hear. This is just talking about a few things that you need to learn. Next time we're talking about what's in those supplements. Next time we're talking, after that, we're talking, I don't even have the schedule in front of me. But next time, what's in those supplements? Why is it we get the crazy, miraculous results we get? But one thing you learn from some quacky, kooky, crazy chiropractic kid that you just take and go home and look up for yourself. I'm just telling you, one thing might change the whole ball game for you. I don't know how many people come to me and say, I had lunch with somebody the other day and they said, when I came in as a new patient and you said you're going to have me keep a food log, I knew you were legitimate. I said, I've never heard that. Keep talking. Explain that to me. She said, nobody does that. You're holding me accountable for what I'm putting in my face. That made all the sense. I've never heard that before. Who else does that? And I thought, I have never heard that. That was so wonderful to hear. Would you mind writing that down? On the cocktail napkin, please. I'm just kidding. Anyway, so I wanted Andrea, because she divulged that to me a little while ago, and I thought, that's a good story. She thought I was a crackpot. Now here she is helping out. Change it. 100% crackpot. 100%. And now here she is helping out, saving people's lives ahead of time. Moving on. Now, vaccine hesitancy link, we talked about that. Bill Gates, I want you guys to see this. You cannot make this up. I'm sorry. Listen to it. It's been there forever. Okay?
For each American, it's about, in poor countries, it's less than 1 ton. It's an average about 5 tons for everyone on the planet. And somehow we have to make changes that will bring that down to 0. It's been constantly going up. It's only various economic changes that have even flattened it at all. So we have to go from rapidly rising to falling and falling all the way to 0. This equation has 4 factors, a little bit of multiplication. So you've got a thing on the left, CO2, that you want to get to 0. And that's going to be based on the number of people, the services each person's using on average, the energy on average for each service, and the CO2 being put out per unit of energy. So let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to 0. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to 0. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. Let's look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to 0. Look at each one of these and see how we can get this down to 0. Probably one of these numbers is going to have to get pretty near to 0. That's back from high school algebra. But let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. Do a really great job on new vaccines, health care, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%. But there we see an increase of about 1.3.
Comma, healthcare, comma, what was the last thing he said?
Reproductive health system.
Reproductive health services? Reproductive health services. Paraphrase that for me. What's he saying there? Reproductive health services. What's he saying?
Stop the birth, new births.
Reproductive health services. What's a good way to do that? What's a procedure? What's a procedure or a number of procedures? What's a number of procedures that would plan the parenthood of children? Who's financing and funding that? From abortions, hysterectomies, whatever. Reproductive health services. You and I would call that Planned Parenthood. You and I, 60 years ago, they called it eugenics. Now, if you look up Snopes, or if you were to search this, Snopes, everybody knows Snopes is reliable? Incorrect. Just kidding. Snopes will, oh, I'm out of testimonials. We have no more testimonials in my pile. I'm sure we have more. But we'll be done here in just a few minutes. Snopes disregards all of this as conspiracy theory, despite the fact that he said the same exact thing. This was like a TED Talk or something. Despite the fact that a little while later he had an interview with Sanjay Gupta and said exactly the same thing. Number two thing that I have a problem with here, no mention is made of Microsoft. He's talking about reducing CO2. How much CO2 do you think Microsoft Global creates? Just an idea. I just thought of that. I wonder how much Microsoft produces in CO2. Third thing, if you get rid of CO2, what else do you get rid of? Carbon dioxide. Anybody ever taken biology or chemistry? If you get rid of carbon dioxide, what else do you get rid of? This is the stupidity of what they're expecting you to believe. Carbon dioxide. What do you get rid of? And what? Trees. And what else? Plants and food. That's the crux of the climate change thing. Rising carbon dioxide. If you get rid of plants, you get rid of humans. Come on. Come on. Or as we say in Tennessee, come on. The other thing I want you to think of critically, like what Andrea was saying here. Andrea. Another thing critically here, since when did a software development entrepreneur become a medical doctor giving advice? Since when? Seriously. Who comes up with this? What's the most logical connection? And this is another class that we'll teach at a later date, but it's all dealing with what I'm going to call, and what's been coined as GRIN technology. You're going to hear a lot more about this. GRIN, G-R-I-N. Genetics, robotics, artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, synthetic biology. We're talking about the merging of man and machine. We're talking about transhumanism. We're talking about Elon Musk, all of that stuff. That's coming up in quarter 2. We're going to have a class all about transhumanism and the merging of man with machine that Ray Kurzweil said back in the day would be what's called the singularity, when man and machine merge. When the creation has created a creation that he spends more time with than the original creator, and he makes a creation of himself merging with his own creation, because that's better than the original creator. That's transhumanism. Good idea or bad idea? Horrible idea. So, another little thought that springs up to me when I watch this is, Bill Gates, he's got enough resources to supply fresh food, water, and sewage to every village in the entire continent of Africa. So why is he focused on vaccines again? And he said, if you listen to the whole thing further down the road, he says, I love vaccines. I love vaccines. He says it numerous times. I don't know. Have you ever heard even a pediatrician say they love vaccines? I've never heard anybody say it. I've never heard a nurse. I treat 50 of them. I've never heard a nurse say, I love vaccines. But Bill Gates is in love with these vaccines. And the interview with Sanjay Gupta, he really spills the beans. I won't get into that right now. I won't show you. His clear focus is on vaccines. Despite affectionate leanings among even the pediatricians, he can't get past the vaccines are saving the world. Number 9, back to the original. We won't watch this whole thing. There's another like 2 minutes there. It's not even worth watching. It's just making you more mad. Number 9, dengue, a mosquito-borne illness that causes what? You're not going to believe this. Dengue. We saw it in another post, but I want you to see this right here. This is number 9, right? Dengue, a mosquito-borne illness that causes flu-like symptoms. What do we talk about with the mosquitoes? And what kind of other global pandemics are we talking about in number 3? Influenza pandemic. So, number 10 is HIV, pre-exposure prophylaxis. Scroll down. Have you seen the billboards for PrEP? You take this antiviral, you can go get frisky, go throw down on a Saturday, Friday night in the gay bar, and do whatever you want to do. We'll be here. I'll wait for you. So PrEP is I always forget this, pre-exposure prophylaxis. So you take a prophylactic drug, no need for condoms anymore. You take a prophylactic drug, an antiviral, and you can go out and sow your wild oats and you won't have to worry about the HIV. Do you believe that? No. This right here is on the World Health Organization website. Do you want to know why American healthcare is screwed, blued, and tattooed and has nowhere to go but down in the sinking annals of Davy Jones's locker on a deep, deep, deep ocean? Pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is when people, where is it? I'll just read it here. At risk of AIDS, take antiretrovirals to prevent infection.
Near the top.
Oh, yeah. PrEP, which is when people at risk of HIV take antiretrovirals to prevent infection. Okay, so here's the kicker, and then we're done. What didn't make the list? What would you expect to be on the list of top global health threats? What did we miss? Well, we saw that all of them, 8 out of the 10, had to do with shots. What did we miss? What are the global, where's all the people starving? Where's all the crappy water? What about these cancer and epidemics of cancer and heart disease and strokes? They mentioned one little paragraph about it, right? What about Alzheimer's? What about the rising cost of end-of-life care facilities, nursing homes? What about, what are some other big things? Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, neurodegenerative disorders going through the roof. What about the autism epidemic? 1 in 46 now American kids has autism. Isn't that crazy? No mention of the opioid crisis. I found that interesting. How many of you know somebody who's died from taking too many pharmaceutical painkillers? Yeah. No mention of that. No mention of death by legal drugs. No mention of trafficking, sex trafficking. No mentioning of anything like that. The cancer epidemic. No mention of the vaccine injuries, which we know from, like Andrew was saying, we all know people who've had some problems. You think people are going to go out in New Jersey last week, cold, East Coast weather, you think they're going to go out and stand there screaming on the steps of the Capitol building if they didn't have a reason? These weren't paid actors, okay, like some of the false flag crap you see on TV. These were moms and dads. Some people I know that have practices in New Jersey that if that bill went through, they were shut down, okay? Big deal, big stuff. They would have to move out of state. I know people that left California, people that left New York the minute that dropped. You move out, you're gone. Childhood sickness and obesity. Don't you think that should have been maybe included in there? How many people do you know? How many kids you see a day nowadays? So, moral of the story, what I'm trying to make you see here is, should you believe everything you see and everything you hear on TV or in the media? I hope that this has awakened you a little bit. When you read some big giant report like this that makes headlines in other websites, makes headlines in the newspapers and on news programs, and it's, the top 10 global health threats. I read this thing thinking, oh man, this is going to be legit. None of it was legit. It was crap. It was all crap. Childhood sickness and obesity, they didn't talk about. Not enough timely genetic manipulation in humans. Let's look at the CRISPR thing real quick. Check this out. How many of you know what CRISPR technology is? We'll talk about this when we talk about the GRIN technology. We talk about the genetics, robotics, artificial intelligence, the nanotechnology, and all the synthetic biology. Synthetic biology, they're making burgers out of non-meat. We're growing meat in laboratories, people. You think that's good for you to eat? It's meatless meat. You can't make this up. How the CRISPR DNA editing works, scroll down. What is CRISPR? Well, we did sheep 25 years ago. Let's try it with humans. Doctors are plunging ahead in search of ways to use the relatively new technology to start treating patients. In China, last November, this scientist stunned and dismayed the genetic community when he announced he'd already used CRISPR, which many believe still hasn't been proven either safe or effective in human patients, to permanently alter the genomes of twin girls. This is just some random rogue dude, right? This isn't the... This is not the research institutes and schools that are now doing genetic modification on humans, crossing them with rabbits and chickens in the schools. This is not military. It's already deep, deep, deep within the military. Check this out. His experiment was criticized because he edited the twin cells when they were embryos. What? therefore ensuring that every one of their cells is now changed, including their reproductive ones, which means their edited genomes can be passed on to their children, despite the fact that experts can't be sure what the long-term effects of such lasting modifications might be. That's uplifting, isn't it? Don't you feel good about that? So the CRISPR thing, not enough. Now, number 7, let's go to number 7. This is really going to roast your biscuits. Number 7. What didn't make the list? These threats to big health. I would think there's just not enough suppression of these quacky chiropractor natural health guys. We got to suppress them more. They're a threat. Or, let's go to that. Number 7, please. The not enough suppression of the natural news article. Right here. So let's look at this. It's just ridiculous. Okay? How many of you know that, Google declares organics to be a lie, supplements scams, and latest insane anti-health search manipulation. This was last June. Okay, scroll down. Let's get past all the, I won't read all this crap to you. I just want you to scroll down. If you go home and do this. I no longer use Google as a search engine. Siri and Alexa just heard me say that. Because of this. Scroll down. When you type in organic, the AI finishes the sentence for you. And it suggests such things as organic is a lie, organic is a sham, organic is a waste of money, organic is a myth. Who's controlling that? I no longer use Google, use Brave browser, use Smart Start Page, or DuckDuckGo. They do not track your searches. They do not look into your thing and into your files. I do not use Google anymore. Scroll down. So organic is a lie, a sham, a myth. It's a waste of money. Keep scrolling. They scrub their search results clean. Supplements are bad, useless, not regulated, dangerous, scams. Go home and do this. Go home and type in supplements are and see how it populates. The AI will populate. The artificial intelligence will populate your sentence. Scroll down, please. Supplements are garbage. Scroll down, scroll down. A bunch more stuff you don't want to read. Taking vitamins. If you just type that in, first couple of things you'll see is bad for you. Is a waste of money. Scroll down, scroll down. Let's just see what they do with natural health stuff. GMOs are, oh, look at that. GMOs are good for you. The first couple things. Scroll down, scroll down. Organic is a lie. We already saw that. Homeopathy. Let's just look and see what this one's. Homeopathy. All that is the liquid supplements that we use here, the liquids. It's plant essences and botanical components. That's all it is. Homeopathy is fake, quackery, sham, dangerous, pseudoscience. Scroll down, scroll down. Holistic medicine is, remember that services page that I showed you at the very beginning with the website? That's all the stuff that we do. Look at this. Holistic medicine's fake, dangerous, anti-scientific. Just keep scrolling. Where's chiropractic? There it is. Chiropractic is fake, pseudoscience. Chiropractic is, they even got vulgar here. Chiropractic is BS. Yes. Look at that. I love when we attract, I want to attract some more attention like that. Chiropractic is dangerous. Chiropractic is bad. Chiropractic is a sham. Keep going. Naturopathy or naturopathic medicine. It's dangerous, fake, quackery. You can't make this up. This is what's going on. The AI is taking over. Your search results and everything, they're compiling, and they're taking out anything they don't want you to see. Okay? Last but not least, we don't have enough of these, the biggest stuff that was left out of here. Seriously. Actually, not seriously. I'm just kidding. But there aren't enough dead natural doctors. If you want to know what that means, come to the last class in March. Look on the schedule. Not enough dead natural doctors. Come to the March WellWorks for more info on that. Talked about another thing that's not on here. We don't have fast application of all the nanotechnology and the robotics and the stuff to accelerate the acceptance of transhumanism. It's just not progressing fast enough for human survival. We have to get man to merge with machine. I would think the World Health Organization would see the truth on this one and say we have to get man merging with machine a lot faster if we're going to survive and get off this rock. Right? Nope. They didn't say anything about any of that. Didn't say anything about the robotics. Didn't say anything about merging with machines. Nothing. Number 10, a big threat to global health would be, wouldn't Amazon be exposed for selling drugs and fake or expired supplements? Wouldn't that be a big deal? Oh, another big deal that should probably appear on there is a threat to global health would be Google merging with Big Pharma, which they just did recently, by the way. Another thing would be not enough censorship of natural healthcare pseudoscience. Because we just saw that chiropractic is garbage. Get the pictures ready? We just saw that chiropractic is garbage, naturopathy is garbage, homeopathy is garbage. Let's check out some of this stuff too. These screenshots. Because the WHO should say, we do not have enough censorship of natural healthcare pseudoscience. We have to get rid of these guys. Check this out. These are things that actually happen. You try to get on the Tennessee Coalition for just vaccine choice. It's not anti-vaccine. It's saying pick what you want. Do you want to do the vaccine? Do you not? Do you want to do this one? Or do you not want to do that one? Look at, when you try to sign up, has anybody ever seen anything like this? Where you sign up for, you try to get notifications from a certain website and you get a warning from Facebook? Has anyone ever seen anything like this? No one in this room has seen anything like this? I've seen it dozens of times. Dozens. You know what every one of them has to do with? This was not going to be a vaccine class, by the way, but it kind of turned into one. Because you need to know about this crap. What does it say right here? This group discusses vaccines. When it comes to health, everyone wants reliable, up-to-date information. If you want reliable information, don't go to the WHO website, as we just discussed. Before joining this group, read information from the CDC that can help answer questions you may have about vaccines. Then you have the choice to go to the CDC. You can join it or you can just cancel it. Next, please. I had the auspicious privilege of having false information found on my Facebook page, Divine Design Natural Health. Read this malarkey. Come on, Facebook. Divine Design Natural Health shared information that's been reviewed by science feedback. The kicker is, I never shared this. Divine Design Natural Health shared information. We've added a notice to the post so others can see that it's false. Have you ever seen this little fact check here next to your Trump posts? See how fact-checking works on Facebook. If you click here, it'll be just pages and pages of garbage. But look at this, additional reporting, science feedback. That's the independent third party that they trust for checking all the facts. Mike Adams falsely claims this was apparently a video that cancer genes an entire genetic code, blah, 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 to fight false news. I don't remember, I've never posted that video. I don't even know what it is. Next. To fight false news, Facebook reduces the distribution of misleading content while also showing additional reporting on the same topic. In other words, they'll funnel you. They'll squash you. Pages and websites that repeatedly publish or share misleading content. How many of you have ever seen misleading content on the internet? Didn't you just see one on the WHO website? Pages and websites that repeatedly publish or share misleading content will see their overall distribution reduced. That means they will shut down your audience and none of you will see my feed. Their ability to monetize and advertise removed. There are whole channels on Facebook and YouTube that got removed. Largest natural health website is an actual medical doctor named Mercola who pulled off Facebook because they demonetized him. Or he just said, screw it, I'm out of here. If you want my stuff, come to my website, sign up on my newsletter, like the old days, right? Biggest health website on the planet. And he's a medical doctor, and he got juked out of it. Their ability to monetize and advertise removed, and their ability to register as a news page removed. People will also be able to see if a page has a history of sharing false news. Deleting the misleading content won't affect these outcomes. You can delete it, you can delete it, you can delete it. We're still going to squash you. Censorship is alive and well in the United States of America, people. Next. This is somebody else. This is a friend of mine, Esther Jimenez. If you're out there watching, Esther, Queen Esther, love you. Life Spa Chiropractic and Wellness. Dr. Esther Jimenez has some restrictions, including reduced distribution because of the sharing of false information about vaccines. This is when you get in level 2 Facebook jail. See, I'm just in level 1 right now, I guess. I don't know how it works. We're showing you another Life Spa Chiropractic and Wellness, Dr. Esther Jimenez admins, 2 sample posts. Though they aren't from your page, they can help you better understand what kind of information has been publicly identified as false by leading global health organizers. Hello. Yeah, next. We're almost done. Next. Then it tells you help for headaches and sinus congestion. They had a class. Michelle and Irene were interested. This ad isn't running because it asks a direct question to or makes an assumption about a user's personal attributes. Like, don't let a cold get you down. Or, are you a cancer survivor? They got shut down for this? This type of language can feel like an invasion of a snowflake's privacy, which is something we strive to protect. For a better understanding of this nuanced policy, we strongly urge you to read our advertising policies. What to do next? Avoid making an assumption about a user's personal attributes. Yo, you got a headache? Let me help you. You can't say that anymore? Next. I got people pointing. Look at this. chiropractic cash-only practice group I'm part of. Another thing. This is just had somebody try to join this and was presented with this before they were allowed to join. This was 9 months ago. 9 months ago is when this rolled out. First time I saw it. Look at that. When it comes to health, everyone wants what? Reliable, up-to-date information. Before joining, go to the CDC where you can get reliable. I would read you a few pages here of some stuff talking about transhumanism and spiritual warfare, but I ain't putting it on Facebook. Last but not least, next class, February 4th, 3rd, 4th? Help, I need the schedule, please, somebody. I think it's the next class. That is February 3rd. Yeah. Future topics we're going to be talking about. That is, yes. Everybody has one of these? Just make sure. You can get one on your way up. Or I'll just give you this one. February 3rd, what's in those supplements? February 10th, the leading cause of deaths in the United States, heart disease. Guess what February is? National Heart Month. Guess what else February has? Valentine's Day. Guess what? We heart you. We're going to talk about heart disease. We're going to talk about why you'll never hear of anyone with heart cancer. I know. We'll talk about it. February 24th, we're going to rip open the good book on first aid, essential oils. You know anybody that needs to get on board with this stuff. The education, the support, the background, the knowledge, the chemistry behind the stuff. I love this stuff. Bring your peoples. March 2nd, how to eat cheap and live sick. If your goal, I'm going to give away some free stuff. If your goal is to eat cheap and live sick, honey bunny, get your people to this class because we will teach you how to live sick and how to eat cheap and live sick. We will teach you how to save money, but we'll teach you how to get to the funeral home way ahead of time. Come on, laugh at that. Okay. And then Lies Doctors Tell, Part 1. I have completely... I'm spitting all over the place. I'm so sorry. You? Not sorry. Lies Doctors Tell. I'm just so fired up about this nonsense. It's ridiculous. Lies Doctors Tell. Yeah, that's just self-explanatory. March 30th. You want to know about some deadly docs done dirt sleep? You just let me know and you come to that one. What would you say, Jesus, in closing about some of your stuff? Here, come on up, real quick.
You gotta clap it up for me.
Yes, clap it up. I just want to give Jesus a minute to talk because he said some stuff to some visitors, some people who were looking at the office earlier today, and I thought, man, we gotta capture this on video. And this is him, right here. It's Jesus.
Hey guys, I'm Jesus. Came here about 7 weeks ago, I want to say. And at first it was, my girlfriend was dragging me along, you know, the typical story. I didn't want to do it. I don't like change, so I was very, against the whole coming here and eating healthy and stuff, because I like, fries and stuff, I like that. So, not anymore though. I haven't had McDonald's in about 7 weeks now, so the entire time. And it didn't take 7 weeks for me to feel better. Actually, about a day or two in, after I started taking supplements, that I was for myself, it was just a healthier choice instead of taking like the vitamins that have everything in it. I took stuff that was prescribed for me specifically, and I started sleeping better. My girlfriend actually can't sleep now because my snoring doesn't keep her up anymore, which freaks her out. So that's one thing.
So she was mad at me about his snoring going away.
Yeah.
You can't.
I was used to the sound of it.
You can't win. Yeah, the vibration kept her lulled off to sleep.
Yeah.
You can't win.
And so.
So what would you tell people? What would you say? What would you say is your biggest victory so far?
Eating healthy, actually. The doc provides us with support whenever we have anything questions about. Instead of eating a specific food, here, this is what you replace it with, So that was the biggest thing. But now I carry a protein bar that's a meal replacement. That way I don't, grab that Snickers or the Twix, and so I'm eating healthier. And I can tell if I do slip up one day and I'm like, okay, hey, if we have like a bread with my burger, right? It hurts. My body aches when I eat that stuff. But when I make a healthier choice, I feel a lot better. Actually, we just got out of the sauna, and I didn't mean to you weren't putting me to sleep, but I was just so relaxed.
Oh, no.
That, it's like, we're going to get home. I'm probably going to go to, go to bed.
They had their appointments today. They had their sauna. They were in the sauna for an hour. You feel like $1 million?
I do feel a lot better. And then he gave me I feel better. I feel a lot better. I felt a lot more tense. And I'm really good. And I felt it immediately, like he did my right side first, my right arm. And it was a lot looser. And then I go over to my left side, and he's like, okay, try it. Do the same motions with your left side. And I couldn't. It wasn't the same until he
That's right. But I want you to remember, chiropractic is fake, quackery, pseudoscience. It's a sham. It's just.
So I just want to say thanks, Doc.
Yeah, man, no problem. Thank you, buddy. Yeah. So that's the end of that. We're going to give away a couple fun things, but we're signing off to Facebook. Thank you all. We went way overboard, but I went through pages and pages and pages of stuff. Yo, here's the deal, though. Quick like bunny. Share this, like this, send it, get it out there. Share it with people who need to hear this stuff. People need to be awakened, like Andrea, or they will never, never, never get on board. Okay? Get people here. Most of you guys here are patients. Get other people here. Facebook. I'll just say social media, because we're going past Facebook at some point. Social media, thank you so much. Share this, like it, send it. We'll see you soon. February 3rd.